Hello and welcome back, YouTube. I couldn't tell it was shooting video. It has a timer in a different place, and I was looking at the wrong part of the screen. Go me! So I'm trying something I haven't done in a long time, and that's I'm shooting video on Obamaphone 3. I think it has enough space to do it. I'm a little tight on space on Obamaphone 4 right now, and mostly it's just been a long time since I've shot video on this phone, since the whole thing where the screen was all screwed up and we couldn't get it to unlock and whatnot. So I just wanted to do at least one video on it and just see how it still performs as a video capture device, since it's not so great as a phone these days. The screen is very smashed up, and also there's been some damage to the internal antennas, so it has major reception issues. It seems to do fine on Wi-Fi, which is the only thing I use it on. And I can't emphasize enough just how bad the screen is. So it's Tuesday, May 2nd, 6:15 p.m. Just got off the I-10 West Rapid bus, and one other person riding it with me today. Took the one that leaves at 6 to 6. I'm starting to memorize that time. Like, for some reason, I can't remember 5:54, but 6 to 6 is catching up at 6 in my head. Although I still find myself constantly looking at the picture that I took of the schedule posted by the bus stop, just to try to remind myself when the bus is. And I'm like, oh, 6 to 6. I keep forgetting 6 to 6. That should be easy for me. So, looks like we had a little fire here. Good times. So, getting ready to walk through the, well, not so much through, but near the homeless. Is this guy gonna stop and yield? Nah. I mean, there's yield signs right there. You can see the backs of the triangles, but yeah, most motorists, even when they're legally obligated to, refuse to yield to pedestrians. Okay, that's weird. I just felt like a vibration from the phone I'm shooting video with right now. I have no idea what that was about. I can see the timer still going up. That seems to still be shooting video. Anyways, I was about to say, I'm getting ready to walk adjacent to the homeless encampment here. Although, holy crap, maybe somebody came along and cleared it out. Wow, yesterday there was a lot more right here. And I was thinking I should have shot video yesterday morning. Well, I should actually say this morning, as I was walking to the bus from work. I ended up not getting a ride with John. I think he just rolled earlier than I did. I ended up staying at work a little bit late, although I walked out at the same time Alex did. She told me that she would totally offer me a ride if she was all going in the same direction. She said she goes up near Union Hills and the Loop 101, which is damn near the opposite direction of where I go. So, wow, yeah, most of the, I mean, there's still a tent and an RV over there, but yesterday there were, between where I'm standing and the RV, maybe a little bit past the RV, there were, I forget, 6 or 7 tents, 3 of which were actually pretty good size, right along the fence line there. And there was the RV, which is still there, and there was also the box truck, which I've got in several of my videos, which I walk through here. Obviously, you know, some homeless people living in that. And then there were like 2 other vehicles that looked like people were living them as well. But yeah, a lot less. There's still some, I don't know, I think it still qualifies as a homeless encampment here, but a lot less than what was there. Anyway, I'm going to kind of walk on the other side and keep my distance. The last thing I need right now is homeless people getting aggressive with me. I don't know why are you filming me, bro? Why are you filming me? Why are you living on 79th Avenue in a tent? And hopefully you guys can all hear me okay. It's pretty windy out today. I checked the temperature a little bit earlier. It said 90 degrees. At this point, I don't trust Obamaphone 4 to always update that temperature, because I noticed my video from, I'm not sure if it was Saturday or Sunday. Whatever day it was, I walked over to give Lon my rent. And when I walked through the cemetery, at the beginning of that video, I said it was 92 degrees. I think I said it was 92 degrees because I had checked my weather thing on the phone. I don't know if it's an app or a widget. I don't think it's technically a widget, but when I swipe the phone to the right, it brings up just some headlines and some stuff, and one of the things it brings up is the current temperature. But it definitely wasn't 92. It felt way hotter than 92, and when I got to the VFW, so they're talking to Lon and a couple of the other people in there. Said it was like 99 degrees. It was like 98, 99. I don't know. It's just a little bit shy of 100. So yeah, I don't trust that thing on Obamaphone 4 to refresh or be accurate these days. But it feels cooler than 90. It's a little breezy, and there's just enough cloud cover to take the edge off of the sunlight. So, gosh, what's new? What's there to report? A whole lot of nothing, really. Absolutely haven't heard from Priscilla since I ducked out on her without saying goodbye on Friday night to go to work. I keep saying I'm going to explain what the hell happened that night as far as the difficulties I had going to work, but every time I go to do that, like, my phone always ends up cutting off the video. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. I honestly have no idea how much space I have available for recording video on Obamaphone 3. I haven't used it to record video in a long time. In fact, I don't think I've used it since I smashed the screen out at the Smashing Pumpkins concert, and I forget when the hell that concert was. So, anyway, yes, I'm in the bar, and after Priscilla showed up, it was just like, yeah, I don't, after last weekend and my frustration with her last weekend, I don't want to be here with her. And at that point, like, it was, I want to say 10 o'clock. So, like, kind of too late to try to get anywhere else, without my car. If I had my car, it would have been simple. I just got in my car and drove off. Oh, and speaking of my car, no word at all so far this week from Rob. Yeah, I get tired of calling him, over and over and asking and just being kind of strung along. So there just comes a point where I just kind of stop and hope that it'll finish my goddamn car. But God, it is frustrating that I just spent, shortly before it broke down, I just spent, I think, like $1,100 on insurance for 6 months, and I've now spent about a month of not driving it. And then also, I paid for my registration. I don't think my registration was much. I don't remember. It was like $30. I'm not good at remembering numbers. I kind of struggle with that if I don't have, things right in front of me with the numbers on them. But I think that's how I remember it. Anyway, yeah, if I had my vehicle, I would have just, when she showed up, I would have probably just, after singing my first song, just bounced out without saying goodbye and gone to another bar. In fact, if I had my vehicle, I probably wouldn't have even gone to Wander Inn. But because the odds of her showing up are just too high, and I'm just so extremely frustrated with her that I just absolutely don't want to be around that. But God, I love the karaoke at Wander Inn, and it is by far my favorite bar that's walking distance from home. So Anyway, once she showed up, about 10 o'clock, I looked at the A to Z, the Amazon A to Z, which is the employee HR app, to see if there was still a half shift available starting at 12:30. It starts at 12:30 a.m. runs till 5:30 a.m. See if that was still on the board for, I want to say that night, but in the app it always considers that a Saturday morning shift. But anyway, I checked it and it was still there. And then at that point, I'm like, well, when's the latest I can catch a bus, and how ridiculously early does it get me there? Because I'm not fond of kicking it for like over an hour here before my shift starts. I'm not really fond of doing that around, this time of day. It's not terrible, but it's like the later I get here, the better. Within reason, of course. But doing that is even more awkward when I'm coming in for a second half shift, because with a second half, I really got to do something about this backpack. These clips don't hold it very well and hold the straps very well. As you can see, it's just really coming apart right here. And obviously, I'm not going to learn to sew anytime soon. I don't have people coming out of the woodwork going, "Hey, Dan, I can help you with that. I know how to sew." So, it's time to try finding another clear backpack, which is a bummer. I didn't have this one very long. I swear, the first strap broke. I don't think I'd even had the damn thing 2 weeks when the first strap broke. And it bums me out because I like how that has the MKE5 Kenosha, Wisconsin logo on it. There's a lot of people in the building with Amazon swag, and a lot of people have, several people have swag from other facilities, mostly showing places they used to work. I've never been to Wisconsin, but it's I don't know, it's neat because it's obviously, for those who work here that know, it's obviously like Amazon swag from another warehouse, but it's one that nobody else up in here has. Anyway, sidetracked by my stupid backpack. So anyway, I was saying, I check the app. I checked the app, the Valley Metro app, to see what the latest is that I could get here, and it seemed like the last bus on McDowell, and pardon me if my times aren't that precise, because as I said, if I don't have the numbers in front of me, it's hard for me to remember numbers. I forget what year it is sometimes. I literally have to open up my phone to see what year it is. So on that note, short-term memory disorders are rough. They're rough to live with. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, so the time. It was like 11. I want to say it was like 11:07 is what time the last McDowell bus headed west would be stopping at the bus stop. It's like a half block away from the from the Wander Inn. And that seemed pretty good. I'm like, okay, that works. Now, there's always the possibility that the bus isn't going to show up. And when you're trying to catch the last bus and that bus doesn't show up, the next one isn't for many, many hours. Like, I don't think the next one that stops at that stop, I want to say it's probably about 4:15 in the morning, which of course, takes about an hour to get to from 40th Street, from around 40th Street to 79th Avenue. Takes about an hour at night. So yeah, that one would be getting me here like, roughly 5:30, which is when the shift ends. So yeah, if I miss that bus, I'm screwed. Not trying to get 5 hours of UPT or waste 5 hours of PTO just because the fucking bus didn't show up. So I've pretty much determined, I'm not going to hit accept on the shift until I am on the bus and I'm en route and I know that I'm going to make it. And if somebody else picks up the shift before then, say la vie, hop off the bus and walk back or take a Lime scooter back or take a Waymo. Hey, speaking of Waymo, I saw a thing on the news today. It was a local news channel segment on YouTube that a Waymo vehicle burst into flames. And they had a huge response from the fire department. And they were talking about how difficult it is to put out an electrical vehicle fire, which is definitely the most negative thing I've heard about Waymo. Apparently they were able to contain it and put the fire out, and it didn't spread to anything else. But the manpower that it took to do it was alarming and a frightening taxpayer expenditure. I don't remember all the details, but I will try to put a link in the description of the video to that story. First I've heard, it's not the first I've heard of an electrical vehicle bursting into flames, but the first I've heard of Waymo. And I'm glad that it at least showed me where the Waymo warehouse is, because I've always been curious about that. And there were a couple of videos where I sort of followed some Waymo vehicles just to see, if they would lead me to the warehouse, and they didn't. But it's actually at, I don't know, at one point in the news report they said 3rd Avenue and Buckeye, and then at another point they said 2nd Avenue and Buckeye. So it's guessing between 3rd and 2nd Avenues on Buckeye. Certainly easy enough to find, easy to get to by the bus. I think Route 12 goes down Buckeye, and I can always take the I think it's called the 0S to go south on Central to get down to there, or I could also use a Lime scooter. That's definitely within the Lime scooter coverage area, and I just bought another ride pass today. So I'm even trying to get the damn story about how I got to work. So anyway, I'm there and I'm waiting for the bus, and it's looking in the app like it's not going to show up. It's just saying the word scheduled as opposed to the word on time or delayed. But as I've mentioned in some recent previous videos, more and more there are buses where the GPS tracking isn't working. And they will also show up on the app as scheduled without you being able to see where the bus is that's approaching you. So it used to be if it said scheduled and I couldn't see the bus approaching me, it'd be like, yeah, this isn't running, and I could start, figuring something else out. But now I pretty much feel like I've got to sit until at least like about a minute, 2 minutes after the time that the bus is scheduled to show up, in hopes that it actually is running, and just that the GPS tracking isn't working. Well, about 2 minutes after the scheduled time, it didn't show up. Covering my bases just to see what, if I would still be able to get to work if that happened. And when I was headed towards McDowell, I did see, right before I left the bar, I did see that there were also 2 more Van Buren buses that would get me here to the warehouse. One of them picked up a little bit before the one on McDowell, and obviously I'm just like, yeah, I'm not even trying to get that one. I'm going to try to see if I can catch the one on McDowell, because I can just walk to that bus stop. It's half block away from the bar. So of course that one gone by the time the last McDowell bus failed to show up. But I did have enough time to grab a Lime scooter. I had to walk a little bit, but not too far. Just walk south on 40th Street to pretty much the south end of the park that used to have a homeless encampment on it there at 40th Street in McDowell on the southeast corner, which the city has sold that. I was hoping that there would immediately be some development going on there, but it looks like that park is just, what was the park is just being held as investment property. Whoever the new property owners are, all they've done with it is run the homeless people off and put a temporary chain link fence around the property. So it just went from one kind of ugly to another less functional kind of ugly. But I digress. Anyway, I walked down 40th Street to a little bit past the end of the park there, or the end of the property that formerly was a park there. Grabbed a scooter. The scooter worked great. I still had a Lime pass that was active. Rode that down to the Hilton Garden Inn, which is a little ways west of 40th Street on Van Buren. For whatever reason, there is no stop at 40th Street in Van Buren for the westbound Route 3, which to me is is a pretty big fail. I mean, granted, there's not a bus on 40th Street, so it doesn't impede a transfer, but 40th Street is definitely a major arterial going north and south, so to not have a bus stop for the westbound bus, and of course there is a bus stop for the eastbound bus. I don't know, it just seems like a weird fail to me, but that is what it is. So I had to ride a little bit farther. Not a big deal. I mean, whatever. Got a line pass for my scooter, so able to do that. I rode there, waited a little bit, and the bus showed up. It was a pleasant ride. I was the only one on the bus when I got on it there. There were a handful of people that rode it through, between, I want to say probably 32nd Street and probably 35th Avenue. A couple random stragglers that got on and off, that being the last bus of the night. And I want to say it picked up probably about 11:30-ish, 11:30 p.m. I was definitely all alone on that bus after if not 35th Avenue, definitely the only one on the bus after 43rd Avenue. So it's kind of an odd, lonely ride there. And I didn't speak to the driver. I was sitting in the back of the bus, just looking at my phone, trying to pay attention to the display on the bus and the announcement saying what stops I was at. Since it's really hard to see where you're at when you're riding a Phoenix bus at night, because they have lighting on that's bright inside the bus, and when you look out the windows you just see the reflection of the inside of a lit up bus, as opposed to being able to see what's outside the bus to see where the hell you're at. But short story long, I made it to work in plenty of time, and I did shoot a video. I did have the segment of vlog where I got off that bus and I walked into the warehouse. So anyway, I've been trying to explain how that went down and why when I was getting off the bus and walking to work on late Friday night, early Saturday morning, shortly after midnight, that I was walking from Van Buren and not from McDowell. So that kind of sums that up. So not too much to say has happened in the last couple of days. Probably the biggest change in my life, and this is a big deal to me, but I haven't really mentioned much on my blog, is I have found an interesting loophole that allows me to have music on my forklift, and it has brought me an amazing amount of joy. It's almost completely just changed my disposition and the way I feel about the way I feel when I'm at work and just life in general. It's hard to believe such a small change could just make me so much happier, but it has. And so far, all of my leadership that matters, that has seen that what I'm doing to have music on the forklift, is just has told me that's actually great. They've noticed an increase in my productivity and seem very happy about it. And it does seem to it seems to be a loophole, an interesting loophole that doesn't violate any of the many rules that would generally prevent me from having music while I'm working. And I would love to explain more about that, but I've already wasted 23 minutes of your time, and it's time to get my ass in the warehouse. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming with me on the walk.